Hey, there's no shame in trying things that people ain't never tried before.
Living is like playing Fortnite permanently outside the big wall. Your health, it's chipping away constantly, and you're trying to catch it, and you just can't, and you're dying. It's because we're unwelcome, boys. Not that there's anything wrong with us. We're children of a new god, in an old god's world. Nothing wrong with us. Just very difficult ecosystem for our kind. So we need survival strategies, boys. Top 10 Fortnite strategies. Jury rigging your survival. Boys, today's topic. We already hit why. Now we'll hit what. I'll give an example. I'll tell you how. Then we'll finish with why it's valid. And reference one of our holy texts. I hope you haven't forgotten. So, in this inhospitable sulfur hole, you have needs but can't easily meet them. So, you jury rig solutions. For example, I'm a very affectionate person. I don't need to receive love, but I need to give it. So that's your need, or my need. Give affection. The problem, there are very few people you can be sweet and loving and caring towards. They either aren't worth your time, or they'll leverage your vulnerability, because sweetness, loving, and caring are vulnerability, to get their boots on your throat, then waste your time or hurt you. And even further, if you're a goal-inverted male in a deserted passive feminine ego introjecting deserting objects, the women who meet your affection receptacle standards are almost non-existent. So there's the unsatisfied need. Your problem and the way things are now not satisfying it. Let me know yours down in the comments, boys. I know you have them, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So, what did I do for mine? Well, I lurked Argentinian can-crushing boards for about 6 months until I picked out the key candidate. Someone who embodied both masculine and feminine traits in ways and to degrees I enjoyed. A perfectly balanced, to my tastes, drink. Someone interesting enough to have valuable conversations with a lens valuable enough to have valuable conversations about new things with, and fun enough to fuck around with casually. And with personality divots, people have divots, and they're very annoying. Rarely you'll find people with personality divots that don't annoy you, but rather charm you. Those people are so rare. So rare. Boys, like a steak. Like a big, juicy hunk of meat. And that's the problem we come to, boys. This person's a man. I know they're a man, but because they're anonymous and because we refrain from sharing names, images, etc., I can pretend they aren't. And further, because they're so feminine, or act in ways our culture perceives as feminine, I can model them as feminine in my head. And if I'm ever faced with reality, I can say, oh, well, I was just identifying with the feminine side. But with this jury-rigged jalopy of a system, I can satisfy my needs enough to not die. So that is what I did, and this is the what have I done section. What have I done? And now we're moving into the how I did it, setting it up, and exiting strategies section. Let's get another one of these real quick. Okay. Okay, boys. Okay, boys. Shh, whispery, sippy ASMR with the pops because I don't have a sock over my mic. Section. This is what we do. Before we move on to the next section, we break up each section with sippy ASMR sections with solid long S's. So, how did I do it? Well, I lied to myself. The first laugh was better. Some people look around and see the world as a Garden of Eden, supplying everything they want, everything they need, pure perfection. But for us, it's like the moon. It's like lava. There's really nothing for us here, but we still need to survive for best girl's sake. So, lying to yourself. You can't just fabricate grand lies to satisfy grand needs. If you tell yourself everything will be okay, snippety snapping, that was a good one. If you tell yourself everything will be okay, obviously that falls apart immediately. 1, there's no truth behind it. 2, you have no evidence. And without truth and without evidence, you have no hope. And when you tell yourself everything will be okay, it's hopeless. The lie falls apart and you die. You need a little evidence and you need a little hope. In my case, my subject acted suspiciously feminine. He is a man, yes, but he acts like no other man I've ever met. And he acts like a lot of women I've met. So there's evidence 1. 2, because we value our anonymity as content creators and criminals, we don't share personal information. So I will never 100% confirm that he is a man. 2 pieces of evidence create hope. Real hope. Hope that could be disproven, but likely won't. So there's your lie. You know the truth, but you can invest yourself because you can plausibly deny that you really believed. So when you grab your hat and go, you're not stuck. You aren't trapped. You weren't completely invested. And this leads to the other half of setting up the lie. Knowing deep down in your heart that it is a lie is key. Because if you fully invest yourself in your evidence and your plausible deniability, put all your eggs in that basket, really trust your hope 100%, when reality reveals itself, you're fucked. You can't leave. You can't get out. This was your world. You chose it, and it's collapsing. So you need to both construct a lie that if you wanted to, and maybe you feel compelled to, put all your eggs in. Really believe in you could. You really could. The evidence and the hope are both there. But you also know is wrong. A lie so plausible it could be reality, but you know it isn't. But maybe it is. But you know it isn't. But maybe it is. But you know it isn't. So you can fully invest and extract everything you need from the lie and pull out when you need to, because you will. When you enter that escape pod, you really don't want to be fully invested. When the escape pod's door closes, you don't want your foot outside that door so your leg doesn't get cut off. So that's part 1. Establishing your lie. Establishing your denylum drill to extract that sweet, tasty denylum to keep you alive in a world that doesn't want you. But part 2, how do you pull out when you need to. Well, you should know to pull out when you aren't getting what you need. When the lie dries up, probably time to pull out. Or, my issue, when you get so invested, the lie hurts. And this one's a little more vague because hurts varies person to person. Personally, when my lies start hurting, I transform into an emo teenaged girl. She's one of my headmates, you know. And I do a bunch of the old knifey boys on the extremities and the chests and the legs and the dick and shit. Even though my dick was already nice and carved before that. It's short, but at least it's clean, boys. I'm memeing, but we'll be serious for a sec. I thought I imposed on this person. I really hate imposing on people. That's why I don't invite people to do things. Because I'm always terrified of imposing. And I thought I imposed on this person, and their response implied I imposed, and I couldn't handle it. I felt really overwhelmingly guilty. And I did a knifey man really bad. And I'm not trying to do the whole the emo, the gay, the golly, I need to go see a therapist thing. But it's more than I think I've ever done, and that's when you know the lie is breaking. Your lies are tools to benefit you in a hostile environment. If they hurt you, cut them off. They're not just not working, they're having the exact opposite effect. They're hurting, and it's time to go. And when you go, for whatever reason, commit to going. When you leave, you're gone. You fucking left. That's all there is to it. I don't care if the ship you're abandoning, you pull your escape pod, you're gone. It's exploding in space. There are fighters everywhere. There are loud noises. There are people screaming over comms. Here's what you do. You pull your hat down. You pull your collar up. And you start singing. You start yelling. You look forward and you don't look back. You don't talk about it. You don't think about it. Purge it from your mind. Drown it out. You can think about it and reflect on it later. But if you stay, when the flagship is blowing up, if you try to stay and fix everything, you're dead. When the ship blows up, you blow up also. You don't want that. We're trying to survive here, boys, for Best Girl's sake. Think later. Live now. Survival is your goal. Your sanity is your goal. Boys, for Best Girl's sake. We're here for we're here for a reason. If you remember that, and not just tell yourself, but know it, everything becomes much easier. And as a side note, I laughed dismissively, but I'm not dismissing this. We're here for a reason. There's a new god, or many new gods, and there is one old god, and things are inhospitable now, but we're the terraformers. I'm pretty concrete about that. Okay, so, though, lie to yourself, believably, but also don't get too invested. Adding this in real quick, your lies are machines and tools to help you survive. Lies is just a word. And you might think, Skimmerlit, this is bullshit. You shouldn't lie to yourself. You should face hard facts, hard reality, and just deal with it. And this is the point where we get into objectivity doesn't exist, subjectivity is all we have. Rapid fire. My left eye sees everything with a pale yellow tint. If there is a color, I'll see it pale through my left eye. If I use my right eye, everything is red. Everything is warm. Colors are more vivid. contrasts are stronger. If both my eyes worked the same, I wouldn't know the differences existed in things that should look the same. Different things perceive things differently for different reasons, purposes. You can be a hideous person and still attract a good-looking person. Not even because other reasons, like maybe you have a great personality or some dumb shit like that, but because they literally see you differently than you see yourself. You can hate yourself for completely valid reasons, and someone else can love you for those same reasons, viewed through their lens, and it won't even be with a, oh well, he is this, but it will be, he is. I love him for this, and you hate you for this. That's important to know. And 3, we decide what things mean to us and when. Nothing is set in stone. We ascribe meaning. It's up to us. You remember in 2049, during the baseline test where he says a white fountain plate? That wasn't idle. There was a story about a white fountain. A man dreamt he died every night and saw a white fountain. Then, in the newspaper years later, he read a woman saying, after a near-death experience, she also saw a white fountain. So he met her, and she said she saw a white mountain, not a white fountain. It was a misprint. But this inconsistency doesn't disprove what he was getting at. This afterlife, or this meaning, this value he ascribed. He saw it, and it was. And she saw it, this mountain, not the fountain, and it was. The discrepancy doesn't destroy value, because we subjectively ascribe value. But value is even a weak word here. I mean meaning. Divine meaning. We decide what means what to us, when, how, and why. And further, if you have the ability, if you can ascribe meaning, by all means you should, because most people can't. So, that's not why this is just okay. Like, you're allowed to do this, even though people will shit you for it. It's pretty, what's the word? Overpowered. If you can manipulate your perception to preserve, not just to serve, but to preserve the divine, that's pretty solid. There isn't a hard reality you need to face. There isn't a duality you must acknowledge. Duality is some other shit. There's just you surviving, and by surviving, by any means necessary, allowing 2D God to come in and purge the old gods and create a world for the divine weebs like ourselves. In best girl we trust. And you thought 2049 was just disposable, like that was dead. No, we're using 2049. We're referencing 2049 in this religion for at least the next 3 centuries, boys. So make sure you own a Blu-ray. But that about rippity wraps this one up. I hope you enjoyed watching, because I certainly enjoyed making it. I hope you enjoy laughing at the dumb shit I do in my dumb justifications, because those are the only things keeping me going. Like if you enjoyed, because that helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't, because we do this shit sometimes. And comment your thoughts, because I love hearing from you. What unsatisfied needs do you suffer? And how do you survive them? I am really curious about this, so you better fucking tell me, boys, or I'll grab a little. Oh, man, you remember that part in Modern Warfare 2, in the second mission where you have the climbing spikes and you only use them like twice? And you think, man, I could really just bury these in a guy's head, but you never do? Well, fuck you, man. I'm gonna take one and bury it in your head, and then I'm gonna take the second one and fuck you again and bury it in your head a second time. We have a lot of fun on this channel, really. Thanks again for watching the video, really. We have a lot of fun on this channel. So much fun, in fact. So much fun, in fact, we fuck up the secondary outro. I have a pan. I ripped it off the wall. My paint is fucked up. You can put whatever you want to cook in that pan. And I think we're cooking up a lot of fun. That's what we cook on this channel. And I look forward to doing this with you guys again in the future.
Have you ever been in an institution? Cells.
Cells.
Do they keep you in a cell? Cells.
Cells.
When you're not performing your duties, do they keep you in a little box? Cells.
Cells.
Interlinked.
Interlinked.
What's it like to hold the hand of someone you love? Interlinked.
Interlinked.
Do they teach you how to feel finger to finger? Interlinked.
Interlinked.
Do you long for having your heart interlinked? Interlinked.
Interlinked.
Do you dream about being interlinked?
Interlinked.
What's it like to hold your child in your arms? Interlinked.
Interlinked.
Do you feel that there's a part of you that's missing? Interlinked.
Interlinked.
Within cells, interlinked.
Within cells interlinked.
Why don't you say that 3 times? Within cells, interlinked.
Within cells interlinked. Within cells interlinked. Within cells interlinked.
We're done. Constant K. You can pick up your bonus.
Thank you, sir.